Hi, this is Teacher Maria of TheQsAcademy. Today we have another lessons worth learning. Our topic is about reproduction, sexual reproduction, and asexual reproduction. By the end of the lesson, students will be able to define and understand the concept of reproduction, distinguish between sexual reproduction and asexual reproduction, and identify and provide examples of each organisms that reproduce through each method. Reproduction is a vital biological process that allows living organisms to produce new individuals, ensuring the survival of their species. This process can be categorized into two main types. First, sexual reproduction, and the second is asexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction. This involves the combination of genetic material from two parents, resulting in genetically diverse offspring. Remember, sexual reproduction involves two parents. And the process of this sexual reproduction takes place when sex cells of two parents, one male and one female, girl or boy, unite to form a new organism. The two types of gametes, the female organ that is called ovary that produces the egg cell,
and the male organ that called testis that produces a sperm cell.
The offspring are genetically unique, combining traits of both or from both parents. And of course, sexual reproduction is common in both animals, including humans. Here, we have process of sexual reproduction. First is the fertilization stage, development stage. The zygote develops into an embryo and eventually fully formed organisms. Humans, we undergo sexual reproduction. Male sperm fertilizes the female egg, take note, leading to the formation of a zygote that develops into a baby. In Psalm 139 verse 13 it says, "For you created my inmost being. You knit me together in my mother's womb." Each life is uniquely crafted, reflecting the beauty of God's design into diversity and creation. Flowering plants, no? Sexual reproduction in plants involves pollination, where pollen from the male part of the flower, the stamen, fertilize the ovule in the female part or the carpel. Roses and orchids reproduce sexually through the transfer of pollen. Birds, no? They undergo sexual reproduction. Male bird and female bird. Sparrows and eagles reproduce sexually with the young developing inside eggs. Fish, the oviparous, fish such as salmon, reproduce by laying eggs that are fertilized externally. The female lay eggs and the male releases sperm to fertilize them in the water. We have mammals including humans, of course, as dolphins, whales. They give birth and internal development within the mother's womb. There are advantages of sexual reproduction. First, genetic diversity. Offspring inherit different combinations of traits, which leads to variation within a population, and it also helps species adapt to changing environments and evolve over time. And we have also the adaptation. The genetic diversity enhances the ability of the species to survive changes in the environment, resist diseases, and avoid genetic defects. So that's it. As sexual reproduction. And we have also disadvantages. So of course it takes time and energy, finding a mate and undergoing fertilization takes more time and energy than asexual reproduction, and slower population growth compared to asexual reproduction. So that's about sexual reproduction. It's very nice that God gives us this gift to reproduce. Praise the Lord. So we will talk now about asexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction. It involves a single parent organisms. Take note. Asexual, only one parent. Sexual, two parents. And here, this method often faster and simpler than sexual reproduction as it doesn't require a mate. No, they can reproduce alone. Wow, amazing. So we have key features of asexual reproduction. Offspring are clones of the parent, genetically identical, and common in stable environments where adaptation isn't necessary. So types of asexual reproduction. We have first binary fission or splitting. So it occurs when parent animal divides itself into two, each half grows into a new organism. So here, when you say binary two, it divides into two or split into two. This is in asexual reproduction. Let's dig it deeper. Here, binary fission or splitting is common in single-celled organisms like bacteria and amoebas. The organisms divide into two identical cells under ideal conditions through binary fissions, creating genetically identical daughter cells. So bacteria is the best example for this. Binary fission or splitting. They split, they multiply. Another example, budding. It happens when an outgrowth of the parent organism develops into a new organism. So the bud eventually detaches to become an independent miniature copy of the parent. Example, the hydra, a small fresh water animal that reproduces through budding, where the offspring grows as a small outgrowth of the parent's body. So this is the best example of the budding. So starfish can regenerate their limbs, and in some cases, a single arm can grow into a whole new starfish. Earthworm, an earthworm is cut in half. Each half grows into a new worm. Amazing. This is regeneration. Another example is vegetative propagation. In plants, new individuals grow from parts of the parent plants like stems, roots, and leaves. So we have example of this. Potato plants grow from eyes or buds on tubers for formation. Organisms produce spores that can grow into new individuals. We have example of this. Fungi, like mushrooms, reproduce by releasing spores into the environment. So we have advantages of asexual reproduction. The rapid population growth in favorable environments. They reproduce easily. This is the advantage. And it doesn't require energy or time to find a mate. and useful in stable environments. So, we have also disadvantages. So, lack of genetic diversity and adaptation through evolution is slower. So, each method has its strength, and nature uses both to ensure the survival of organisms across different conditions. So understanding these reproductive strategies helps us appreciate the diversity and resilience of life on Earth. Dear learners, reproduction reflects God's design in the cycle of life, showcasing His wisdom in creating ways for life to continue and adapt. Each process, whether asexual or sexual, reveals His creativity, as every organism from the smallest bacterium to humans is crafted with a unique purpose and method to multiply and thrive. My dear learners, Genesis 1:28 it says, "Be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth and subdue it." This verse reminds us that God entrusted creation with the ability to be fruitful, emphasizing the significance of growth and renewal across all living things. I hope you have learned something new today. God bless everyone. This is Teacher Maria of TheQsAcademy. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment down below what will be our next topic. God bless.